What was life like in an American city in the year 1906? Well, come and join me and we'll read the Star and Sentinel newspaper from Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, dated November 7th, 1906. Let's start to see what happened in this town, starting with general local jottings. Frank A. Schindeldecker, a Western Maryland Railroad brakeman, had the middle and little finger of his left hand painfully injured by being caught between the bumpers while coupling cars at Thomasville about 7:30 o'clock Wednesday. Mrs. A.T. Stambaugh of New Oxford fell on the boardwalk one day recently, dislocating the wrist of the right arm and tearing a ligament in the same arm. Lloyd, son of John Weisler of Round Hill, had the end of one of his fingers bitten off by a horse recently. Oh my, lots of accidents. A mad dog passed through Hamilton in the vicinity of Cold Springs and bit 4 cows for different parties. The animals all got hydrophobia and had to be killed. This newspaper is in November, and Halloween just got over. I wonder how they celebrated it. Listen to this article. Halloween. Halloween was celebrated in this place in about the usual manner. A considerable amount of corn was thrown by the younger folks. A few old vehicles were moved from their accustomed places to distant points, but little damage was done. 2 cows, one red and the other black, belonging to the residents of North Stratton Street, were taken to the college and whitewashed. It is also reported that an organ was removed from the college to the observatory along the Mummersburg Road. The above picture of the man and fish is the trademark of Scots emulsion and is the synonym for strength and purity. It is sold in almost all the civilized countries of the globe. If the codfish become extinct, it would be a worldwide calamity, because the oil that comes from its liver surpasses all other fats in nourishing and life-giving properties. 30 years ago, the proprietors of Scott's Emulsion found a way of preparing cod liver oil so that everyone can take it and get the full value of the oil without the objectionable taste. A new plan to dupe farmers. A clever new confidence game is being worked in Lancaster County, and operators have found not a few victims. A well-dressed man stops at a farmhouse and declares that he has lost a valuable diamond pin on the roadway, and all make a search. Nothing is found. But before leaving, the stranger says he will return, and if the pin is found, will give a reward of $150 for its return. A few days later, a tramp turns up with the pin, presumably a diamond, which he says he found. The farmer usually takes the bait and gets the pin for $20 or $25, expecting to get $150 as his reward. After vainly waiting for the loser, he learns from some jeweler that the pin is worthless. Could not find the verdict. In one of the earliest trials before a colored jury in Texas, the 12 gentlemen were told by the judge to retire and find the verdict. They went to the jury room. When the opening and shutting of doors and other sounds of usual commotion were presently heard. At last the jury came back into the court, when the foreman announced, "We have looked everywhere, Judge, for that verdict, in the drawers, behind the doors, but it ain't nowhere in that blessed room." Caught by the grip, released by Peruna. One reason why Peruna has found permanent use in so many homes is that it contains no narcotic of any kind. Peruna is perfectly harmless. It can be used at any length of time without acquiring a drug habit. As among 1,000 human faces, no 2 are alike, so among an equal number of horses, none have hoofs exactly alike, a fact which has important bearing in correct horseshoeing. The late Miss Emma Jean McMillan of Dayton, Ohio, left a will naming her pet horse and old house cat as the beneficiaries. There was discovered $14,000 in gold that she had secreted in the cellar of her home. This money, as it now appears, must revert solely to the horse and cat. Miss McMillan was very eccentric spinster. Here's the biggest fish lie, perhaps. We were camping in northern Wisconsin, and one evening, after our supper of black bass and bacon, we lay under the pine trees, smoking and telling fish stories, in which it was always the bigger bass that got away, says a writer in the Chicago Tribune. Our guide listened to the gravity of a man who knew all about fish stories, and finally he knocked the ashes from his pipe and told us a story. Once, long ago, he said, there was a terrible big trout up in Smith's pool. Every fellow who fished the pool had hooked him one time or another. But he always got away, bit off the snoot or something. I tried to catch him myself a dozen times. One day I was sitting by the pool when splash, a young robin fluttered out of the nest on a limb above the pool into the water. In a minute there was a rush, a gleam of yellow, and the old trout had thrown himself clear out of the water and had swallowed up the young robin whole. What did I do? Well, I climbed that tree in short order, got another one of those young robins, baited my hook with it, and threw it in just as lightly as I could. In a minute there was another rush, another gleam of yellow, and again the old trout jumped clear out of the water and swallowed the robin, and in a minute or more I had him hooked. It was lucky I wasn't fishing with any of those new-fangled rigging these boys use, and that I wasn't bothered with a reel to look after, or I would have lost him sure. As it was, it took me a devil of a time to get him out. Good eat? Great Scott! We didn't try to eat him. He was so full of hooks, we sold him for old iron, you know. That ended our fish stories for that night. Pretty Mrs. Andrew Lucas, who was married recently at Trevorton, permitted herself to be kissed 385 times following her wedding, each kiss costing $1. She had been a popular girl, and her marriage was witnessed by many guests. After going from the church to the home of her husband, one of the guests proposed that all the men kiss her in honor of the event, and that each one pay her $1. She conferred with her husband. He said he would not be jealous, and the osculatory program proceeded, while the bridegroom acted as cashier. The Alice Rabbit. The teddy bear has a rival in the Alice Rabbit. The latter is a creature of white stuff, with delicate pink ears and bright eyes. It is made of white plush, its ears are lined with pink velvet, and its eyes are black beads. The Alice Rabbit has all the best qualities of the teddy bear, namely, it will not break, looks alive, and snuggles beautifully. It is jointed too, like the bear, and will sit down or stand up according to the way its limbs are manipulated.
Alice in Wonderland, come let me take your hand. You'll see the wonders past, looking through the looking glass. right there before your